I picked up the Jellyfish palette from Hourglass. I'm so excited. Today, I'm gonna put this to the test and I will let you know my thoughts on this palette. This was expensive, 122 Canadian. That's a lot, but you get 6 face products in here. So first of all, this is the Jellyfish palette. It's the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Edit Unlocked palette. I got mine in the Jellyfish, which is the lightest one. I will show you how it comes out of the actual packaging. So it comes like this, and then it comes with this protective thing. Here is the palette. It's so pretty. Now the Jellyfish one is in the light one, the snake one is the deeper shade, and the leopard one is the medium one. I did not understand what the owl was. I think the owl was just the actual packaging, and people could choose what type of palette should go into that owl one. I didn't understand that concept at all. I don't mind the Jellyfish. I love the owl too. I love the white design, but I love green. I'm not a big fan of jellyfishes, but I think this looks really interesting. It looks like an umbrella and some beautiful green around it. I love it. On the back, it says the Ambient Lighting Edit Unlocked Jellyfish Palette. So that's the back, and here is the front. It is really, really pretty. So I don't own anything by Hourglass. I don't have any of the previous shades, so I can't really compare it to anything. It's supposed to have 5 best-selling shades in it. It has 1 finishing powder, 2 blushes, 1 bronzer. Then we have a highlighter, which I think it's this one right here, and 1 new shade of a blush and glow to complexion. Looking at it, it looks like you're getting the powder, which is here, the 2 blushes. So there's like the 2 products. I guess there's 2 blushes in one. Then we have the bronzer, highlighter, and that glow. So we're gonna use this whole palette on the face. You get a really nice size mirror. Now this doesn't stay up, so be careful, don't force it. And I think it's magnetic when you close it, which is good. I really love the design. I love the jellyfish color on the packaging. So as you can see, everything that I'm wearing on my face will be linked down below. And let's just get into this palette. This is the powder. Then we have blush in Rose Fusion. Then we have the metallic strobe powder. It's an opal strobe light. We have the actual bronzer. It's a lunar bronze. The blush diffused heat. And then we have the finishing powder ethereal light. So do we have 2 powders? Let's start swatching them and see. I really, really hate getting into them. So this is, I'm going to swatch from top row and go this way, and then come down and go this way. So here is this powder. Obviously the swatches on powder, it's hard to tell, but it gives you an idea on how light it is. So we're going to put this on the face, and I'm going to go into that nice blush. Very beautiful. Like, I am not touching the pen too much because I really, really don't want to waste the products. They are so expensive. So for 122, you probably get like $20 each of a product in here. Now this is the beautiful, is this the highlighter? That's so pretty. See, I'm so confused with the shades. I don't know what they are. Which one's powder, which one's highlighter? Those are the only 2 confusing ones. Obviously the blush and the bronzers. You know which ones they are. This is so pretty as well. And I wonder if you get 2 powders in here. That's what it looks like. Okay. So, not a big fan of getting 2 powders in one palette. However, it's okay. I'd rather have 2 bronzers or 2 highlighters than 2 powders. But it looks like this and this are both finishing powders. Weird. Diffuse light and ethereal light. So I guess, I don't know. not a big fan. First of all, I'm not a big fan that we have two powders, but how I'm going to use it, probably going to use this powder underneath my eyes, this powder on my face, and then the blushes, highlighter, and bronzer. So let's start with the bronzer. So first of all, here are the swatches. They're pretty good. So you can see the two powders are very similar. So I think that's kind of a waste of a product in the palette. But yeah, I'm always confused with this type of palette, so I wanted to bring it up to your attention. If you haven't owned an Hourglass holiday palette like this, limited edition, to kind of give you an idea on what you find in those palettes, and be aware that there's two powders. So if that's kind of like puts you off and you don't want to purchase the palettes, at least you have an idea. But yeah, I would have preferred either two highlighters, two bronzers, three blushes instead of two powders, because two powders are kind of like not useful in there. Okay, so let's do this. So first of all, I'm gonna start with the bronzer, and I think for the bronzer I'm gonna use my Makeup by Mario F1 brush. And let me zoom you in. This video is all over the place because I'm excited about this palette so much. Okay, so I'm gonna dip into this bronzer right here. So it's quite pigmented, and let's bronze up the face. I actually love this type of shade. It's not too red and it's not too yellow. It's not too cool tone. I think it's just perfect. So I'm gonna do one side so you guys can see. Wow, never owned an Hourglass product, so it's exciting to have one. And I bought this because I think that with this palette you can even use this on your eyes and then you're good to go, and then your makeup is done. Also very good for traveling, so you can see how beautiful. Where's my mirror? I never really use the mirrors of the palettes. I find that it's too heavy to hold, and it's easier to have the palette on the table and dig into it that way than hold it up. Okay, so here is the actual bronzer. So this is the side with the bronzed face, and then again here you can see the difference. Very nice and natural looking, very beautiful. I am loving it. Non-patchy and very natural looking. Okay, so let's finish this side as well. So I would love to hear your thoughts down below. Have you picked up any of these palettes? I don't know if they're limited edition. What does it mean? It means that they're not gonna come, like you can't buy them after this holiday season. I don't know why they do that. Because you fall in love with a product, but I guess maybe you can buy these products individually. I have no clue because I don't own anything by Hourglass. So pretty. So let me go with like Vicky Beauty 111 and just blend everything with that as well. Very pretty bronzer. I'm actually happy with the bronzer. It looks natural and it's pigmented enough. You can build it up. So not disappointed at all with the bronzer. We'll see when we move to the powders. So if you have oily skin, then probably you'll be happy to have two powders in there. If you have dry skin, mature skin, and you don't use as much powder, then I think two powders are a waste in the palette. But yeah, I didn't see anyone mention that. People seem to just be happy with the palettes, but I thought I should mention that. Okay, so I'm gonna start first with this blush right here, and I think that is number 2 blush, the Rose Fusion. I'm gonna go with a Vicky Beauty 107. Very pigmented. I just touched the actual product, and let's see how it looks on the cheek. Okay, so right away, this type of blush, it gives me Dior vibes. It feels lightweight. Its swatch is very pale. However, when you apply it to the cheek, it gives it that nice glow and pigment, and you can build it up quite quickly if you want. So I'm barely touching it because I want to move slow. That is really pretty. Okay, and now I'm gonna, let's see here. So this is the cheek with the blush and then no blush. And I'm gonna go in with the same brush and dip into this blush, which is very, very interesting. Look at that swirl in there. And that is the number 5 blush, Diffused Heat. And see, so when you pick it up, I'm gonna apply it here and see what this blush does compared to the other one. If it's any different. Very similar, so I don't see much difference in them, with the exception that this one has some glitter particles in it. So you can see in here. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but we'll try our best. Let me try to do this. Okay, so here are the 2 brushes. This is the one with the glitters in it, right here, and then this is the darker one. So I don't know if the camera will pick it up, that there's any glitter in this. So I guess that's the only difference, because what I see is that the actual blushes in shades are pretty much identical. So the only difference is that this one has glitter. So I thought I should do it that way so you guys can see and not just pop them on top of each other. But yeah, you can really tell which one I'm wearing where. Only that when you look close up on this one, you have glitter. Okay, so what I'm gonna do next for now, I'm just gonna even out the cheeks. So here's a close-up. This is the blush in the shade Rose Fusion we have right here. Very beautiful, I like it. And this is in the shade Diffused Heat. Identical, like I said, just a little bit small glitter particles, which it still looks beautiful. So I'm gonna add the first blush on top of this one, just so that we can have a similar cheek. And then I'm gonna go into the other one and apply it here so that we look the same. Definitely the one with glitter, I don't know, seems more intense from what I see. So beautiful when combined together. It gives you that nice sheen and natural flush to the cheek. Okay, very pretty. Nothing special, just, you know, it's just looks, everything looks really flawless, beautiful, very elegant. Okay, so let's go into the highlighter now. So this is a Moda eye contour brush, but I like to use it for highlighting. And apparently this is the highlighter right here. It looks really pretty though. Yeah, you can see it right there. It's so beautiful. It does have like a purple shift, maybe in combination with the blush. We'll apply this on the nose as well, where we have no blush, and see. But beautiful highlighter, definitely shows up on the cheek. You can see right here, so pretty. So let's clean the brush a bit and then apply some on the nose and see. Yeah, no, it looks very beautiful. So it's not, it doesn't have a purple or pink shift. That's when you apply it on the cheek on top of the blush. It gives you that, but you can see how nice it looks. Okay, so now let's move on to the powders. So for my under eye area, I am going to use a Moda Glow brush. And let's make sure, yeah, there's no creasing, nothing. So I'm gonna go with the lightest powder, which is this one right here, Ethereal Light. And let's apply this one underneath the eye area here, because I think this being bright, lighter in shade, I think it'll be perfect for underneath the eyes. It definitely has more glitter in it. You can see it, so maybe this is more of a adding to the cheeks. It looks really nice. It looks brightening and pretty. Now I'm gonna go into that highlighter with my finger. So cute. Such a nice shade, and I'm gonna add it in my inner corner. Definitely my favorite shade in this palette. It's so pretty. And let's move on to this powder right here with a BK Beauty 113 and see how this looks when we powder the face. Okay, so I do have some thoughts on this palette. Stay tuned. I'm gonna go with a brush and kind of blend everything together so we don't have any sharp lines anywhere. Add some of this powder around the blush. So here's a close-up so you guys can see really up close. This is what the complexion looks like. It's really pretty. Like I'm pretty happy with what I see, but I have some thoughts. Okay, final thoughts on this. $122 for this. Absolutely not worth $122. I would pay probably $50 for it, maybe. $122, not worth it. Beautiful to look at, beautiful packaging, beautiful outside as well, hourglass, but none of these products are actually anything special that you cannot buy from Rare Beauty, or even from Dior, Givenchy, all those products. This, let me tell you why. Okay, first of all, favorite product in here is probably the highlighter. I really love it. Very subtle. It gives it a nice glow from within. It's not patchy. The palette is not bad, okay? The palette performed nice. But for $122, I think my expectations were a little bit higher. Plus, there's two powders in here. I have a problem with those two powders. I thought that maybe the powders would actually work good. This one for under eye, this on the face. I don't really see what this powders did to my face at all. It didn't really, you can still see the shininess. You don't see any HD effect on your face like when you apply any of my other powders that I have. It's just something there to add to this palette from what I see. This has a little bit fine sparkles in it, hard to see. I use it for under the eyes, which probably that's what I'm going to use it for. This is more of a yellow undertone. I put it on my face. It looks fine. It doesn't look yellow undertone, but it doesn't do anything but makes my face look, I don't know, a little bit more drying than it was before. I probably liked the complexion, how it looked before that powder. So definitely not a big fan of this. Maybe this you can use as highlighter, or maybe you can put it on the eye and set your eye before you put eyeshadow. Obviously, I'm going to use this palette because I spend my own money on this. But yeah, not necessary to have those in there. Waste of money. So basically, what is really nice in here is the bronzer, which is obviously nothing special. It's a bronzer. It looks really nice. I love the shade. I love how it blended. It looks natural. I love the undertone of it. Beautiful. The blushes. I love the design of this. It looks very sheen on the cheek. So that's probably some of my favorites in this palette as well, because it gives me that nice natural Dior type of vibes. I remember when I apply my Dior one, I get that feeling, a very lightweight and beautiful on the cheek, and the highlighter is just stunning. So I guess $122 I paid for the two blushes that I really love, highlighter, and this is just there. This two, waste of product in there because they don't do much. However, I have to. It looks really nice from afar. Up close when I look, you can see, and I'm using my Shiseido foundation, which I have no issues. I've worn it daily. My face never looks cakey by the end of the night. And the minute I put the powder on, I don't know if you guys can see, it just looks a bit drying on my face and not as glowy as before. So it's okay. But I guess my biggest thing is I spent $122 for this, which obviously I'm going to use it. So you will see me use this in future videos, but I wanted to give you my thoughts on it. That is nothing special. So I don't know how the other palettes are, but the for my preference. Maybe you prefer to have 2 powders in one, then it's worth it, right? But for my preference, I thought that the powders would look good underneath the eye, would brighten it instead of drying it. And I thought that like it's okay, it's not bad underneath the eye, right? It's just nothing special, that's all. So it's just there. Products are just okay. It's not wow, this bronzer is amazing, or I just really love the blushes and the highlighter. It's just beautiful. Bronzer is good too, and the powders, you already know my thoughts on it. So is it worth it? It's not worth it. Not $122, right? Because then that means it's $20 per product in here, and if I'm unhappy with two of the products are powders, so that's like $40 spending on those 2 products, and the rest is, I guess those are my thoughts. You know, I hope that if you did purchase it, you enjoy it more. I'm still enjoying it, I'm still loving it, but I want to give you my honest thoughts so that if you go ahead and spend $122, you know what to expect, like the brutal honest truth about this palette, and not be like, oh, it's just so beautiful, because a lot of people love it, right? It is beautiful, but not for $122. Give me another bronzer or a contour. Maybe give me a contour here and leave 1 powder, it's fine. But don't give me 2 powders. Who needs so many powders in their collections, you know? So yeah, those are my thoughts. Pretty happy with how the face looks too, right? But if you are a regular consumer and you want to know the honest truth about this, that's my honest truth.